Welcome to #Single with Jeanette
and Tracy. We are not relationship experts or sex therapists. We are two people navigating the world as single, independent feminists, having honest conversations with other singles in today's device-obsessed culture.
We hope you'll join us on this journey as we navigate the ins and outs of singledom. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to #Single. I am your host, Jeanette Bonner. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a while since we've had a new episode, so thank you for your patience. But we are very excited to have a new episode for you this month, being February, the month of love, or not. I am joined with my friend, Shoshana. Thank you for being here with me.
Hola.
And the voice of the patriarchy today is my good friend, Ari. Ari, thanks for being here.
You're so welcome. Shalom, everybody.
All right, you guys, we're going to get right in it. So I brought Shoshana in because I wanted some perspective. Shoshana likes everybody. No, how do you, I hate being binary. I hate putting labels on things, but like when people ask, how do you define yourself?
Well, I say bisexual only because people understand sex, male or female. But someone said something about something called pansexual.
Yeah. We actually had an episode on that already. My friend Diane just came out to her parents as pansexual. So we had to talk about that because I was like, did they understand? How did that go over? What does that mean? Because there's still a lot of confusion about what that word means. She literally said people thought that she was attracted to pans.
Like Peter Pan?
No, like pots and pans.
Wow.
Right? So, there's a lot of ignorance out there, but that's okay. That's why we talk about it, because we want to help foster communication and not ignorance. I could admit I didn't really understand what's the difference between pansexuality and bisexuality. And it comes down to the fact that we're trying to get away from binary labeling. So, you could just sort of be gender queer, which means bisexual doesn't really work. Mm-hmm. So pansexuality is just sort of like, who you are, whoever you are, we love you,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So you tell people you're bisexual, but
yeah, I tell people bisexual, so then they just don't expect me to
so they stop asking stupid questions.
Exactly.
So they don't ask you if you like pans.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. That's a good approach to life. So before we get started, if you're comfortable with it, I'd love to hear where you are at. People make fun of me when I say this, but I'm just going to roll with it. Your single journey.
Oh my God.
Where are you at on your single journey? Where you're at in your single life?
So right now, for men, I'm on Bumble.
Okay.
And I was on Tinder. Mm-hmm. But I didn't like Tinder because the last guy I dated, I caught him on Tinder when we were in a relationship.
Wait, we're going to come back to that in a second.
Yeah.
How long have you...
And I had never been on Tinder, but I was like, let me see what's so special about Tinder.
There's not.
There's not.
It's like the waste of humanity on it.
So strange. And it was all visual. It was all kind of like, oh, this person's hot, this person's not. Like the hot or not, remember back in the day before Facebook. So, and with women, I tend to just meet them in person. I don't know. It's a strange thing.
Well, how long have you been single?
Since October, the first week of October.
Okay. So you just came out of a relationship.
Yeah.
And how long was that relationship?
Oh man, it was like 3 or 4 months.
Okay. So you've dated people off and on, and when you're in a relationship, do you tend to be monogamous? You sort of...
Oh, yeah.
You're exclusive?
Completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're dating one person, and then you go back to the dating apps.
Yeah. Well, the only time I've ever met someone on a dating app was the last guy I dated, and it just ended really bad. So I'm like,
oh, no.
I haven't actually messaged anyone. I like guys on the app, but I don't actually communicate with them.
That sounds like a really...
It's so bad.
I hate to say it's like masculine approach. Like,
really?
I'll just say, like, I find on the apps that guys will just sort of like a photo, but won't initiate a conversation.
Yeah.
Whereas what's the point of that? I need to know if I can talk to you. Cool.
Yeah.
You think you like my dress? That's great. That gives me no information. Whereas I initiate conversation. And I have found in conversations with other single women that that's to be the case, where women will initiate conversation. Oh my God, your dog's so cute. What's his name? It could be really simple.
Yeah.
Whereas guys are just like, she's pretty.
Really?
Right.
I don't know. I was conversing on Tinder, and there was a guy that I was very interested in. He was handsome. He was in the film industry, and like he was the perfect height, because like height is very important apparently. So he wrote me back and basically tells me, "Oh, this is shallow. Why don't we just meet up? I don't want to have a conversation with you. I want to meet you." But it's freaky for me because I had such a weird experience from the last guy I met.
Yeah.
It just was awkward. I can't even tell you how awkward that whole thing was.
I stopped using Tinder as well because I had a string. It was 3 strikes for me. One guy was on drugs on the date.
What?
Which I didn't know because I'm naive. But when I explained his behavior to someone else, they were like, oh, he was totally on speed.
Whoa.
The second guy asked me if I wanted to do drugs in the bathroom.
What?
And then the third guy, not necessarily in order, the third guy had this really sort of infamous Tinder date that I told everyone about, posted about it on Facebook, where he went through the motions of this. I don't want to say it's a con game. It's a pickup game. Like if you Google it, it will have almost 1 million hits, called Strawberry Fields, where a couple of my friends already know this, so I'll go through this very briefly. It's this like, let me take you through this imagination game, right? So you like close your eyes. All right, you're in your favorite place. You found it. Great. So walk away from your favorite place. You're in a field. You see a big wall. Describe the wall to me, right? Then he says, okay, great. Find a way through or above the wall. On the other side is a strawberry field. Describe the strawberries to me. And then someone comes into the strawberry patch and you're like, who is it? And then, first of all, who is it? And then what do you say? What did you say to that person? So I totally failed this thing because this guy was a complete misogynist a-hole from the get-go. It's a long story I won't get into. But I basically was like, my wall was made of stone and 12 feet high. And he's like, find a way around it. And I was like, there's no door. And the wall is supposed to represent your desire to have sex with this person. Oh. So I guess somehow this is supposed to let this guy
loosen you up.
Yeah, I think he did it wrong, is what I've been told. Like when you look at how it's done properly, it's if you're really smooth at it, if you're Ryan Gosling in Crazy Stupid Love, right? Then you say things that makes a girl want to say. Like, you're supposed to judge her answer and be like, oh, that's not right. And she's like, what do you mean? What did I get wrong? Like, I thought you'd be the kind of person who would, well, what does it mean if I don't have a wooden fence? Like, don't worry about it. And then so she gets really intrigued. This guy was literally just like, I was like, I'm not interested. I have a stone wall. There's no door. The strawberries are supposed to represent your sexual appetite. So I guess you're supposed to be like, oh my God, I had 3,000 of them. No, that's too many. I had 8 of them and they were really wet and juicy and I don't know, you know? And I was like, I've seen wild strawberries. So mine were really small and half green and tart. So I was like, there's no appetite for you. And then the guy that came in was a farmer, duh. And he's like, what do you say to the farmer? I said, are these your strawberries? And I think it's supposed to be him, and the farmer's supposed to, what you say to him is supposed to represent what you...
Will you pick my strawberries?
What will you say the morning after? I don't know. Feel free to Google this, by the way, because I'm doing a hardcore
Can I do this to other women? Is this something that I can do?
Does it work? Is that what you're asking me? If you do it properly.
I get women to sleep with me.
I guess. I don't think there's better ways. I'm not going to lie. I want to go back to something that you said that was really interesting. So you meet guys on apps and you meet women in real life.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
I don't know. I just find it's easier. I find it easier to talk to women. I don't know.
Do you find that women are more approachable in real life?
Yes. And some of them. But men, I feel like it takes time. Like you have to have conversations for longer and me personally, I feel like, well, I guess you're right. You hit it. Women are more approachable in person. And I have a little tendency to not trust men. Like, I feel like in the beginning, they put on this facade to try to woo you. And the last 2 guys I dated definitely, showed me that was true. But I mean, some people would argue with me and say, well, women are too. But the women I've dated or
I feel like you hold the key to the universe. Like, this is fascinating. What draws you to men?
Well, I love dick.
Great. Don't we all, sweetheart?
I love the cock. And I like the masculinity. I grew up without a father after I was 8. And so my family's full of nothing but women. So it's just kind of like this masculinity that I crave. And I enjoy it, but it can be overwhelming sometimes. It can be, I get kind of tired of it. It's like, it's too much. But, in women, it's like not enough masculinity. It's too feminine.
Yeah. Well, what is it that draws you to women?
The softness, even no matter what their style is or, what their career is.
Are you talking about like emotionally?
Yeah. Yep. A woman I find to be softer, not more compassionate. I mean, there are men that are compassionate, but again, this is my own personal perspective.
No, of course, yeah.
I feel like there's more of a conscience when you do things. Like,
you think through, you analyze.
Right.
I mean, that's really what it is.
I've never dated.
We overanalyze, but we think through and we follow through, whereas men are a little more, just to be general, a little more impulsive and in the moment.
Yeah. And, the girls that I've dated, when they did something wrong in my eyes morally, and about their relationship, and I say something to them, they don't do it again. Like cheating or like lying. Flirting or something that affects me and hurts me. Whereas men, I find that they repeatedly still do it, almost like like it's a masculinity thing. Like, you're not going to tell me what to do kind of thing.
Wow.
So yeah, I do find that I hurt more when I'm with men. Like, I find myself like
it's exhausting.
Being disappointed more with a man in a relationship.
So what makes you keep going? Like, let's say, what was the last relationship you just came out of? I was with women for 10 years. And then in April, I started dating men again. Can I ask you why?
Why?
Yeah.
I did this thing called Landmark, which is like this, I don't even know how to describe it.
I wouldn't either, really.
So, and it made me think about, okay, the things that I want out of life, why do I not go for them? Or why do I hold myself back from the things that I want? That's things that have happened to me in my past, basically, and that I've not healed from. And so I worked on those things and I healed from them. And I was like, I woke up one day and I was like, I want to see if I can be with a man. Like, I want to see if I've been with women because of what happened to me, in my past. So I did. And I dated a guy for only like 2 months. Then I broke it off.
And you were like, I need women again.
Yeah.
Do you find that you kind of teeter-totter back and forth? Like, too much of this, and now I need to balance with this, and too much of this?
I find that I'm not able to date both at the same time. So it's overwhelming for me to date men and date women at the same time. It's very overwhelming. And believe it or not, men actually are jealous. You would think that would be their fantasy, but... Yeah. The last guy I was with became very jealous because I was attracted to women. We would both look at a woman's butt together, and then he'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'd be like, but you were just looking at her butt too. So what's happening here? What's wrong? That's wrong?
Fascinating.
But right now, I've
that's
been
that
focused.
Double standard in society, right? Like, men are allowed to be attracted to everything that moves, and women are only allowed to have eyes for their partner. That's the patriarchy right there. that's the shit that we're dismantling.
And the same with women. I mean, the women I've been with were highly jealous of men who would flirt with me, or because I work in the bar scene, and they would be jealous of men. It's such a strange thing.
Yeah.
So I can only date one at a time.
Yeah, I can see that. So but we were chatting before, and you told me some examples of some like crazy things that have happened to you in your dating life, in your single life. I want to talk on one thing that I found really interesting that you mentioned to me. You were talking about how you'd experienced both extremes, like super unemotionally unavailable people and super clingy, moving fast people. Mm-hmm. Can I be a complete jerk and guess who was who?
Okay. Yes.
Was it the guy? Was it a male that was emotionally unavailable?
Oh, yeah.
And was it a woman that was super clingy?
Actually, I've had both.
Okay,
both.
Good.
Yeah.
That sort of dismantles my theory, which is interesting.
I've had both between both sexes.
That's the generalization that like women are super needy and super clingy and want to like have a baby tomorrow, and guys are distant and unsure and uncommittal, right? Like that's and I will not. I mean, I'm trying to be equal and fair, but my experience, I have yet to meet a super clingy guy.
Oh, no. The last guy I was with was so clingy. He was so clingy that within a month, he was whispering, "I love you," in my ear. When we would go to sleep, I'd come over his house, and stay the night, and he'd whisper it in my ear, and I'd wake up and hear it, but I wouldn't respond because I didn't love him. I only knew him like not even a month.
That's a lot,
not even like we only hung out maybe twice a week. And then he started to say his ex-girlfriend's name loudly in his sleep, which I still don't believe that truly happened. So he would get me to say I love you.
No, we're going to cancel him out because he has some things he needs to work on. That doesn't count.
No, but he was very clingy. So I've had both. Definitely. And the last girl I was with for 5 years, she wasn't ready. After 5 years being together, she wasn't ready to have kids and get married, and I was. And so I broke up with her because I wanted that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the really hard things is, and this happened with me too, is that I was in a relationship where I was like emotionally supported and very much in love, but also knew this is a theory I have about like heart versus head, where your brain knows that this is not the right person for the future that you want. And that is so hard because when you're lonely and you're sad, you're like, oh my God, I took that thing away from myself that loved me because my brain thought it wouldn't match in the future. Like as if any of us know like what's going to happen in the future or something. So we're all constantly warring between the life pattern that we anticipate for ourselves or envision for ourselves versus what we have in the moment.
Yep. She treated me really good, so it was really, really hard to let her go.
Okay. Oh, she treated you. Yeah. I heard cheated.
Oh no, she treated.
I was like, oh girl, no, don't even worry about it.
No, she treated me.
That's really hard. That's really tough. Yeah. But if you know what you want in that future and they're not aligning, then there's no point in like, just sort of like squeezing the sponge and like trying to wring it out and make it work. Then you'll both end up miserable.
Yep.
So I know, because you and I are friends, that something that you do want is a baby. Mm-hmm. And recently you made a very big decision.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Go ahead and tell us what that is.
So, like I had said, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend 2 years ago because I was ready to have kids. And I'm in my late 30s, so I don't think people understand that men can have babies older in their years.
Oh, yeah. I have that friend that had a baby in his mid-60s.
Exactly.
And his partner was under 40.
It's hard. If you're not a celebrity with a whole lot of money like Janet Jackson, you can't have a baby past like 40.
I mean, you can. Yeah. I've had friends that have had, not without additional treatments or backup plans. It becomes exceptionally expensive and emotionally challenging if you don't have a partner to help you through that.
Yeah. So I have decided with the support of my family and all my friends, that I'm going to be having a child on my own. I'm going to actually have the child. I found out my insurance pays for IVF, which I'm really excited about.
That's great.
Yep. My insurance pays for it. And the IVF, I think the first 3 tries. That's why I'm working so hard. And saving money and paying off my debt and things like that. But I'm going to do it because I truly want a family, and I'm not needy to need someone to help me. I don't need a man or a woman to be my partner. If I meet someone and they want to be a part of that, then that would be great. Or, if I do meet someone, who's to say, then it worked out. But I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to wait for that. So
congratulations. I think
you.
that is crazy huge. And like just owning what you want and making the decision to do it. Like there's nothing stronger as a woman to just be like, you know what? Mm-hmm. I want this thing. I don't need someone to make it happen. And also the follow through, I think is like, you're badass to me.
Thank you. And I have a lot of inspiring women, friends, very close friends who are all raising their children on their own. So, they're inspiring to me, and I know I can do it because of them.
So let me ask you, wait, when are you looking to start the process of getting pregnant?
So my first appointments are in April. My mom is flying
this year?
up. Yeah. My mom is flying up to go to do the infertility things, because I do have irregular periods and some things. And I've never been able to get pregnant in the past. When I was with a guy for 10 years, and I never could get pregnant. So I have to have a bunch of testing done and things like that. And then I have to find out if I have a couple options, sperm donors. I have a couple of really great
people
friends.
You know?
Yeah, I have really great friends.
That is super interesting. Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to have a donor sperm.
Well, I'm thinking about that too. Creo Bank is a really great sperm bank that they have like a whole profile on each sperm donor.
Yeah. No, my friend just went through this, and I was like, are there just like binders of men?
Shopping for
like
sperm.
Page 70. Like, oh my God. It's can't amazing. Even, if you had to choose, I wouldn't even know how to begin.
Well, I kind of like that only because I feel like, no offense, to my friends, I love them, but if sometimes things happen, and I don't want to get in any,
it's complicated,
court things and anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I want to have the child,
right?
And I want it
you
to
have
be
to
mine.
have someone like severely sign off on that, and that is really hard to do.
Yep.
At the beginning, they're like, yeah, sounds great.
Exactly.
I'll help you out. And then later you're like, oh, I have a 7-year-old and I want them to move to California with me, whatever.
Exactly. So, we'll do that. And then I'm hoping like maybe November, like just before Christmas.
And then when you're pregnant, are you going to continue to date?
That I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Dating while pregnant, if you will.
I should do a whole
DWP.
Documentary on that, right? Netflix.
That would be, oh my God. You so should. That would be fascinating. And also just for you to just see like, who would be more open to it? Would men be more open to it? Would women be more open to it? Or that would be super interesting to measure,
Yeah.
My spidey instincts say that women would be more open to it, and guys would be like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
What's my role if you're already having a baby?
Yeah, that's true.
And then what about like, and forgive me, like if you haven't thought these through, you don't have to, but I'm so curious, like when you have a child, will you continue to look for a partner?
I mean, I'm a believer in like, I've always been like this, and people make fun of me, like fairy tales, like someone's going to
true romance.
Yeah. Someone's going to sweep me off my feet. And then everyone tells me, oh, it'll happen when you're not looking for it. So now I'm always looking for it, not looking for it.
I love that too. I've been told that too. You're like, and then you play these really stupid tricks with yourself where you're like, I'm going to go into this new seminar or class and I'm not going to look for anyone because I'm not supposed to be looking for anyone. You're like, does it literally make any sense?
Yep. I'll be at a bar by myself and like some really cute guy will walk by and I'll be like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't waiting for it. So is that him? Because I'm not waiting for it.
How can you pretend you're not looking for a partner or interested in dating when you actually are? It's like, ludicrous to me.
Maybe I think what they mean to say is they were angry at life and didn't give a shit anymore, and that's
cool. So when you totally lose hope is when someone will arrive in your life and miraculously turn everything over.
Yep,
that sounds really great to me too. Anything else that's like frustrating you, that's particularly bothering you in today's day and age of trying to date on apps or just, sort of in our social media culture?
Probably just like, and I'm guilty of this too, but how we are in the beginning when you first date. You know, you go out of your way to be this amazing person and like treat someone so well and listen to them and care about how they're feeling. And then after a couple months, well, I guess more so with men, but after a couple months, they're just this totally different person. That really frustrates me because I try to be who I am
at the beginning
as much as possible. Yeah. And I just, that really frustrates me because then I feel stupid and bamboozled, and I think that frustrates me. And also reliability. Like if you say you want to take me out or say you want to go on a date and then I don't hear from you, like I'm not.
Yeah, I experience a lot of frustration around this as well, which I think has a lot to do with our phone culture. Now that we're just trapped in this world of immediacy, and
that's true.
It works on both ends. Like I'm like, if I don't hear from you in the next day, I'm moving on.
Yeah,
but it's also the expectation that. That you're there to respond. Do you know what I mean? It's like we all need everything to happen in the next 24 hours. There's no patience to it. There's no grace. And it's just because it's hardwired in us. I was talking about this with a friend the other day about how, remember when we used to like call someone and leave a voicemail? And then you'd have to wait several hours for them to like get home from work or school and listen to that voicemail and then call you back when they were free. Like that's how we used to date. So even me, I used to be able to wait several hours and not be anxious about hearing back from somebody. And now I'm like 2 hours goes by. Why didn't you respond to me?
Yeah.
And it's not a behavior I like, but at the same time, we're there. We can't get rid of us. It's innate in us already.
Yep. And I don't have patience at all.
Right. It's like, so I'm with you. It's like that. It's just we have an expectation that people should respond immediately. If you're a courteous person, that you would respond to the email, you respond to the text, or you invite someone out and you follow through, right? But also, at the same time, the other side of that, the evil of that is we assume if we don't hear from them or if they haven't asked us out, it's over. It's done. They're not interested, right? That like quick to judge. So I don't have any answers. I'm just bitching myself.
No, you're right. The first guy I dated after 10 years in April, that's why I broke it off with him, because it would take him 24 hours to respond to a question that I would text him. And I just felt like...
It is rude because you know they saw it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm trying to check myself and be like, yo, this anxiety around dating, not healthy. I hate this feeling in me of like, why isn't he like me? Why doesn't he get me back? What did I write that was wrong? It's this spin in the head
painful.
that I freaking hate it.
I never had a woman ever do that to me.
That's because women are respectful and they respond to your email and they have follow through. Ari, you've been very patient over there. Wait, hold on. Ari, you were on your phone.
And I was
You guys, we're literally, Shoshana and I are sitting here talking about how the degradation of our culture has made of us all impatient and how we are like trying to, and Ari's in a podcast room.
Very important.
I hope you are responding to text and emails. I hope that's what you were doing.
I was.
I hope you were like not.
I was
on Amazon.
I was not on Amazon, but I was. I did check an app. Speaking of apps. God,
oh my God!
Stupid
if
apps.
only we had a video feed.
Please validate me.
So we talked about a whole bunch of things. And I just want to acknowledge one of the reasons I asked you on this particular episode of the podcast is because, wait for it, You're not straight.
I am part of the gay triarchy. And I've been waiting to say that for 15 minutes because it popped into my head.
That's amazing.
I was like,
Does the gay triarchy exist?
Oh, sweetie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hardcore. Yeah. Like in a big, big way.
I never really thought about that. When we talk about patriarchy, does it include men who have also been kind of ostracized and marginalized as well?
Oh, I mean, in the way that, heteronormativity is real in the straight world, it's very much real in the gay world. Yeah. Especially with gay men and white gay men. So within the community, it's very stratified. I think it's a fascinating little microcosm within the larger, LGBT.
Yeah, I guess it's not something that I really thought about, is that within your own, it makes sense, within your own culture, for lack of a better word, each society will set up its own rules. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And we've got all the animals covered. We've got the bears, wolves,
yes, I've heard.
Otters.
That's not
cubs,
what I was thinking about, but
badgers.
We could have animals too if we wanted to. They're called furries, aren't they?
Furries.
This is going off on a weird tangent
really
already.
Is.
Have you experienced any of the behavior that both Shoshana and I have talked about, just in terms of dating?
Yeah, I mean, the masculine kind of typical qualities are predominant in the specifically in the gay male community, for sure. It's a lot of
masculine in what way?
That kind of aloof, maybe not interested, not really showing vulnerability or interest, kind of standoffishness.
Yeah.
Very looking for Masc, which is masculine.
Yeah.
Masc only, no fats, no femmes, no Asians, no it's
that's awful.
It's crazy.
That sounds like the patriarchy times 1100.
Yeah. Yeah. It's obsessive. And I'm cool. I'm never gonna I'm gonna stay away from you. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a strange little world,
There's a theory that a dating coach that we had on the podcast, Dalia Karnofsky, she has this theory that there is in every relationship a masculine and a feminine energy, and they're not necessarily attributed to male or female or men and women, but the masculine energy is the aggressor. I always think about, this is really awful, but I always think about plugs.
Tops and bottoms. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. There's always they say there's a female end of a plug and a male end of a plug, and it literally goes down to that, so that one of the things goes forward and one is the receiver. So the masculine energy is the aggressor, and the female energy or the feminine energy is the receiver. And one of the things I struggle with is that I have a very masculine energy, and so I think I struggle with putting that on its side and becoming a feminine energy when in dating, or finding a guy that has a feminine energy. So when you're dating, how do you guys define that juggle, and how do you navigate it?
It's so interesting because I have, I would say, some qualities that I'm super, I mean, you know me, I'm a sensitive dude. And so I can definitely sympathize with a lot of what you guys were saying, but I don't know, sometimes it's just animalistic in a way. It's maybe simpler. I'm not saying that this to be offensive to women, that you're overcomplicated, but it's people can think in terms of just all right, well, who's going to be the top and who's going to be the bottom, and and then from there,
so it's a personality thing, and not, you just sort of figure it out as you go.
Yeah, but what's also interesting is just kind of I've been thinking about this a lot over time, is one of these things, the common traits I notice in people, especially whether it's straight or gay, whoever, men who are so obsessed with masculinity, is just it's clearly you're so insecure in yourself that what you're really afraid of really is being seen as anything less than masculine, which is a woman, which is the most, which is so, but even the fact that gay men do that, to me, is just whoa, that is so crazy that that's so ingrained, not in just the straight world, but that in the queer world, people can be so afraid of, not being tough enough or manly enough or this enough, because anything less means that you're basically a woman, which is less than, which is insane.
I mean, that is so meta. I can't even wrap my mind around it.
Yeah. I've just been, I'm not thinking about that in a good or bad way, but I was just oh my God, it touches every part of the culture. You know what I mean?
And it mirrors the patriarchy, which is, like I said, ironic because it is a subset
It's
of
a gay
society
hierarchy.
that's
The
been
gay
marginalized.
Yeah, it's just a
And
little
they
bit
went
more
and created their
colorful.
own patriarchy.
It's like when the Jews went over the Upper West Side because they weren't allowed on the Upper East Side. So they're like, screw you, we'll make our own, you know?
And now then they took over New York.
Now we're everywhere.
Just sort of to round it out,
Yeah.
one quick thing that like really frustrates you in today's dating culture.
I think people... I was just recently dating someone. By dating, it was like 3 weeks. And as soon as we slept together, it was it.
Oh, the great disappearing act.
And I could feel it, like, the sex was, like, actually, like, on point. Like, it was, I was like,
what
great.
Is
it was
that?
super, like, but I will say, having just seen that, Ted Bundy Netflix thing, that I noticed, like, when we were having the adult times, that there was like a kind of something in his eyes that kind of just like checked out. Like he wasn't like I know when sex is really, really good, like even better than that.
You're connecting.
You're looking at each other and you're like kind of talking a little bit. I remember like him he was kind of looking down at me and I was like, I can look back now and be like, oh, right.
You weren't there.
He wasn't there. I mean, it still felt awesome.
Yeah.
But in that case, you were talking about kind of clingy neediness. I definitely did I was aloof before when in our earlier communication. And then when I felt that happen, like I was like, oh, and he let me sleep over. Okay. So
we're moving forward.
Yeah. So then I reached out and then I was like, oh God. Yeah, this is not, he's done.
Oh,
and then
God.
I was like, oh, men are garbage. I'm going to be in a codependent relationship with my cat. And
it's so satisfying to hear a man say, men are garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
No, we are. I mean, but also satisfying. And yeah, in this, I totally, there's an ageism in the gay community that is just as strong and intense, maybe even more so in ways. At least with the gay men. And you have to check this is the pressure that you have to feel. Like you have to look like a Men's Health model. You have to, Men's Health, does anyone even read that anymore? I just aged myself. Instagram model. You have to make this amount of money. You have to just be like this, and make it look easy. And then also this idea that people are like looking over their shoulder for the next best thing, like all the time. So sounds it's great for therapy.
Listen, you are welcome. You are welcome in our world anytime.
I do love holding women. I do like the softness of women. I did like kissing women. I did like it.
And on that note,
I don't know.
I was getting all sorts of weird, you guys.
Whatever. I mean,
fast forward. Shoshana, Jeanette, and Ari are all naked in the podcast booth together.
Yeah.
Cuddling.
Who's the top?
Before this one gets weird, you guys.
Shoshana's the top.
It's already weird, but we're there. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this queer episode of Queer Eye for the Single Guy and Gal.
Listener.
We appreciate you guys listening, and we will catch you next time.